Back at the beginning of the week, I asked you guys for your NHL related questions. Now it's time to get the answers. It's episode 3 of NHL Q&A. Hey everybody, it is time once again for NHL Q&A, where I will be answering some of your biggest NHL questions. And we got some awesome questions this week, so I really want to say thank you to everybody who commented on the post and asked all of these great questions. If I don't get to yours in this episode, I am doing one of these videos every month, so just ask another question or ask again next month and you may be featured. If you want to see the community tab post where I get these questions from, please make sure that you're subscribed so you can see the post and potentially have your question answered in one of these videos. But let's get into it because there are some great questions this week, starting with Jack, who asks, can you see Moritz Seider be the Calder Trophy winner? And my short answer to that is yes, absolutely possible. Obviously, I'll elaborate a little bit. Moritz Seider does not look like a rookie. I mean, this kid is having an absolutely fantastic season on the blue line for the Detroit Red Wings. He is second in the NHL among rookies in points, only trailing his teammate Lucas Raymond, but he leads NHL rookies in assists with 29. So he's got the most assists out of any rookie in the NHL. He's legitimately playing like a number one defenseman as a rookie this year. And obviously the Calder race is a contested one. Lucas Raymond leads rookies in points. He's also from the Red Wings and he's still having a great season. Trevor Zegras is in the mix, although he's kind of fallen off a little bit recently as Anaheim as a team has started to fall off. However, Anton Lundell with the Florida Panthers, I think, has kind of pushed himself up into the Calder race now. So it's obviously still a lot of hockey left to be played. It's still a race that is up for grabs. But Moritz Seider is definitely in the Calder Trophy picture right now. And honestly, for what he's brought to the table offensively, second in the league among rookies in points, first in the league among rookies in assists as a defenseman, while also playing great back in his own end as well, and being a true number one D-man, I mean, that is very impressive, and Seider could absolutely win the Calder Trophy this year. Next question up comes from Victoria. Do you think the Vegas Golden Knights will win the Stanley Cup this year? So, short answer is no. Vegas is not my cup pick this season. Vegas is still a good team, though, and I do think they could potentially contend, but a lot of things are going to have to go right for them to go that far in the playoffs and possibly go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. One of the biggest things that is going to have to improve is Robin Lehner in goal. Robin Lehner has not had the best season this year. His numbers aren't great. And if they're going to go that deep into the playoffs to where they're legitimately a threat for the Stanley Cup, Robin Lehner is really going to have to pick his game up from where it is in the regular season and take it to the next level in the playoffs for them to have a shot. Jack Eichel also really adds to this equation quite a bit because that is another huge piece to the offense of the Golden Knights with Eichel now back healthy and back in the lineup. So, again, Vegas is not my cup pick. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I think they're still just a little bit short from where they need to be if they're going to win a Stanley Cup. But again, that could change if the offense really takes off and if Robin Lehner can take that next step in goal, then maybe that takes this team from like a second round exit to possibly going all the way to the finals. And then, obviously, at that point, anything could happen. So, they're not out of it, but they're definitely not my number one pick. Next question here comes from Joey. Says, do you think the Philadelphia Flyers need another new coach to get back on track? And yes. Now, I may be a little bit biased here because I have never been a Mike Yeo fan as a head coach. I don't really, maybe he's a fine assistant, but when he was in Minnesota, when he was in St. Louis, I've never been a big fan of Mike Yeo as a head coach. And when we look at the Philadelphia Flyers, they haven't gotten any better since the coaching change. It's not like Mike Yeo has come in there and changed anything or made them a better team or gotten more out of this team than how they were playing under Alain Vigneault. Like, nothing's really changed for Philadelphia. They were pretty bad before the coaching change, and they're still pretty bad after the coaching change. So I absolutely think that they need a new coach. I do not think Mike Yeo is it. I don't think Mike Yeo is a guy that's going to, improve the Flyers or make them better next season. So I think obviously he's going to finish out this year for Philadelphia. I mean, they're not making the playoffs. Their season's over already at this point. He's just going to finish out the year, and then they need to go out and get a real new full-time head coach to bring in for next season and see if they can start turning things around in Philadelphia. Question number 4 comes from Jay, who asked, who do you think is the leading candidate for Coach of the Year? So this is actually a really, really good question from Jay, because I think there are a lot of coaches with their names in the mix right now. Before I get into my opinion, I looked up the Vegas betting odds on Coach of the Year, and right now, the best odds are actually Rod Brind'Amour to win it again for the Carolina Hurricanes, as he just won Coach of the Year last year, and the betting odds are actually on Brind'Amour to win it again. However, while he's certainly in the mix, I do think that there are some other coaches that deserve quite a bit of recognition as well. One is John Hynes with the Nashville Predators. The Nashville Predators have been a lot better than I thought they were going to be this year, and usually when you see a team that really, kind of overachieves from what their original expectations were and makes the playoffs, which it looks like Nashville is going to, then that coach usually gets some recognition as far as Coach of the Year talk. So I think John Hynes in Nashville is in the mix. I think Gerard Gallant with the New York Rangers and what the Rangers have been able to do this year, he's got to be in the mix for Coach of the Year as well. And how about Andrew Brunette with the Florida Panthers? I know Florida's been great all year long, but, we've almost forgotten about the little bit of turmoil that they had at the beginning of the season. Andrew Brunette was not their head coach at the beginning of the year. Joel Quenneville was their head coach, and then everything about what happened with Chicago in 2010 came out. Quenneville ended up having to resign, and Andrew Brunette had to take over into the season after it had already started, and that team did not miss a beat. Literally one of the best teams in the league, a mid-season coaching change, which you don't see good teams do very often, and that team did not miss a beat. So I think that Andrew Brunette in Florida deserves some recognition as well. So there are some great coaches this year. Obviously, Jared Bednar in Colorado doing a great job with that team. John Cooper in Tampa Bay always does a great job. There are some really good candidates this year, but I think, obviously Brind'Amour's getting a lot of recognition, but I think John Hynes, Gerard Gallant, and Andrew Brunette are 3 guys that may be a little bit off the radar, but certainly deserve Coach of the Year talk, at least, and to be in the conversation. And finally now, question number 5, last one, comes from Ace. Says, do you think the Penguins will get a player who isn't afraid to drop the mitts? So I don't think Pittsburgh's going to go out of their way to add a tough guy or anything like that. That's really not Pittsburgh's style. Now, if there's a guy out there, a depth addition that they could add at the trade deadline who, brings other stuff to the lineup, maybe is a good penalty killer, a good face-off guy, a good fourth-line grinder, but also isn't afraid to drop the mitts and isn't slow about getting involved physically, then sure. I mean, they're not going to shy away from that, but I think that would just be like an added bonus for a player that they were interested in for other reasons. I don't think they're going to specifically focus on adding a fighter to the lineup or anything like that. That's really not Pittsburgh's style. That's not how they've been building their teams. And they've had some tough guys over the last few years, and it's always kind of been short-lived. Like, they've gone out, they've made a move for somebody who's physical, somebody with some toughness, and then they almost, like, you know, within like a year or less, kind of backtrack on it and are like, all right, we actually really didn't want to do that, and they end up moving him. Ryan Reaves, they brought in Ryan Reaves. That was very short-lived, and they shipped him out to Vegas not long after acquiring him. They had Eric Goodbranson for a short time, but that didn't last very long. They had Jamie Oleksiak for a short time, but again, that didn't last very long, and they sent him right back to Dallas. So they've had some tough guys, and they haven't really held on to them. So I don't think that's a move that Pittsburgh is going to be, you know, like specifically trying to make. But if there's somebody out there that they like, somebody out there that, you know, adds more to the game, but also isn't afraid to drop the mitts, then I think they could make a move on a player like that potentially. But I don't think they're going to be searching out toughness necessarily at the deadline. But there you have it, guys. Episode 3 of NHL Q&A. Thank you to everybody for the great questions this month. If you didn't get yours answered in this video, keep trying. I do one of these every month. So ask again coming up in March, and you might get featured in the next video. I'm trying to include questions from as many different people as I can as these episodes go along. And also, please make sure you're subscribed so you can see the community tab post where I get these questions from in the comments. But for those of you that asked questions this month, really, really, really appreciate it. There were a lot of great ones. For those of you that had your questions answered, thank you for the great questions. I hope that you guys were satisfied with my answers, and hope that you guys all enjoyed this video, and really like doing these, so hopefully we can keep them coming all season long. With that, guys, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description of the video. If you'd like to further support the channel, links to our merchandise store, membership, and donation links are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.